their situation tonight with Oscar Valdez testing positive for what's phentermine, testing positive for phentermine. What do you think about him actually fighting tonight?
To be honest, man, you know, those are things that honestly need to be cleared out. You know, I think that we all, not to give anyone punishments or anything, but just kind of understand, like, hey, this ain't a sport to do things like that. If he got caught in something, maybe he didn't. You know, I think he went on television and he announced that he apologized, that he's always been a clean fighter. And, you know, kudos to him on that, because that takes a lot of respect and it takes a lot from a man to be brave enough to even talk about that. And, you know, I wish, hey, man, may the best man win tonight, you know, and they're fighting for the WBC world title. And, man, it's awesome, man, just to be out here. And, you know, it's Mexico versus Brazil.
Then Teofimo coming and saying, have to support all my boxers. No, you don't support cheaters. That we had an 18-year-old lady that just died in Canada 2 weeks ago.
Great point.
You know what I mean? If, God forbid, that other girl was on that same stuff.
It's pretty much an attempted murder. Teo came out, supported, and defended Oscar Valdez for cheating. He said maybe he didn't. Oscar went on TV and announced he's a clean fighter. In other words, Teo is completely fine with cheaters because we already know what time it is. For Teo to say Oscar maybe didn't cheat, but Oscar Valdez tested positive for PEDs, phentermine, then said that he got it from herbal tea. Come to find out, there is no herbal tea in the world that has the drug phentermine in it. To make matters worse, when Vada requested him to submit the herbal tea, guess what? He failed to submit the herbal tea. He never submitted the herbal tea to confirm and verify his innocence because he's clearly guilty. That excuse is more shameful than him cheating because it's so idiotic. Now, the drug phentermine, it is proven that it's a PED. The drug phentermine increases your speed, your endurance, your stamina, and it helps you cut weight. You can lose all of the fat while maintaining the muscle. So this is a proven PED that's banned. He tested positive for it, both the A and the B sample, didn't make the weight. The WBC covered up for him missing the weight and approved him to fight. As far as him not making the weight, he came back 2 hours later. They never announced that he missed the weight, and they could have easily tampered with the scale. Then robbed his opponent later that night. They got the referee to take a point away for nothing, for rabbit punching, even though he was just tapping his head. Meanwhile, when Oscar Valdez did the same and actually hit him at the back of the head, he rabbit punched him twice. Guess what? He warned him twice. For us to see the corruption right in front of our faces. Then a judge has the fight 117 to 110. That scorecard was written before the fight even began. That's a Canelo Alvarez scorecard. So we know what time it is. These are WBC employees. So the point that I'm trying to make, we know Oscar Valdez cheated and lied after cheating. He cheated and lied. However, Teofimo Lopez, he want to defend him and say that he can be a clean fighter. We got to believe these guys. He went on TV and he tried to make us feel bad for Oscar Valdez. So what's your take on Teo defending Oscar Valdez for cheating?
I think anybody who's caught cheating in boxing, whether it be loaded gloves, whether it be the use of steroids, should be automatically banned for life, because without cheating, a fighter's life is already on the line. You dig what I'm saying? So by cheating, loaded gloves, PEDs, whatever it is, you're even more so putting his life at risk and taking him away from his family and etc. So I think, man, you get popped once, you should get out of there, because, you know, that should be attempted murder in my eyes. But as far as Teo defending these claims, I think that Teo may be trying to stay politically correct. You know, within boxing, you dig what I'm saying? Just stay politically correct, try not to piss anybody off. You know, try not to incriminate someone right off the bat. To me, I feel like Teo is you know what I'm saying? He's a cool guy.
My whole thing is, I'm not saying Teo is a cheater or anything like that, but only a cheater supports another cheater. A clean fighter will never support another cheater. They can't respect it. You can't respect it. If you got to go through the mud, if you got to get it out of the mud, it's blood, sweat, and tears, then you see another guy taking shortcuts through cheating, you're not going to respect that as a fighter because you put your life, sweat, and tears into this. You see Devin Haney, he called out Eddie Reynoso. He said Eddie Reynoso whole camp is on that shit. You see Caleb Plant do the same. You see Andre Ward do the same. You see Timothy Bradley do the same. You see every clean fighter do the same. A clean fighter will never respect a cheater. So it just shocks me to see Teofimo Lopez.
I don't think that Teofimo Lopez is just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, there's no doubt because he failed for steroids or for PEDs. Plus, he failed to submit the herbal tea that he claimed he got it from. There's no herbal tea in the world that has the drug phentermine in it. That's why I don't believe he's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he knows he cheated, but I think Teo is just trying to get cool with the Canelo Alvarez camp because this is the fourth fighter in Canelo Alvarez team that tested positive for steroids. So it's not a coincidence. It's not like, okay, well, yeah, it could be a one-off. No, this is a pattern. We're seeing it. Like every year is another fighter from Canelo team that's testing positive for PEDs. But you're seeing Teo in the back, you know, of course, hanging out with Canelo and Oscar Valdez. But all I'm saying is them are two cheaters. So that's not a good look on Teo's behalf because we see Teo supports and defends cheaters on more than one occasion because he defended Tyson Fury, for cheating, tampering with the gloves, so on and so forth. When he was trying to run and avoid the trilogy, he was criticizing Deontay Wilder for nothing. He was telling him, fight your way back, this and that and the third. When that's exactly what Deontay Wilder was trying to do. He utilized his rematch clause, but Tyson Fury wasn't trying to fight him. At the time, Teo, he defended Tyson Fury for cheating Deontay Wilder. He also defended Oscar Valdez for cheating Robson. Now, keep in mind, he's defending fighters on the hope list for cheating fighters on the coincidental list. I mean, what a coincidence. So that's what I'm saying is not a good look on his behalf for him to defend the cheater when he's a clean fighter. I never questioned that Teo is a clean fighter. But the fact that it's a pattern now, he's defending these cheaters, whatever the case may be, for why he's doing it, it's just a bad look on his end. And you get in where you fit in, you are who you hang with, and he's trying to hang out with the Canelo team. He's trying to hang out with the Canelo team. He's trying to fit in with the Canelo team. You know, it's kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, most definitely, man. I like Teo, though. Well, Oscar Valdez failing to provide the herbal tea to be tested for the steroids is shameful. And to me, that whole camp is on one because Canelo did a similar thing. He got popped twice for steroids, right? He claimed that it was from the meat that he was eating in Mexico. But you're the highest paid athlete in the world. The beef that contain those type of chemicals and steroids in them, those come from like the cheap meat, the cheap quality, the real low level type of stuff. You're the highest paid athlete in the world. So it don't make sense to me that you're buying meat of this low quality. So I think there should be some serious consequences in play. Unfortunately, because of the politics of boxing, that's not going to happen. But I think anyone who gets popped for steroids, cheating, you know, whatever the case is, should be banned for life.
That's for sure. Now, there's a video on YouTube, Canelo testing positive for PED or steroids for Cambuterol. Is he innocent or not? This guy, he explained it, and he did a great job, a brilliant job doing so, because he mentioned that in Mexico, the contaminated meat, it doesn't just have one steroids in it, Cambuterol. It also have another type of steroids in it. So if Canelo did eat contaminated meat in Mexico, like he claimed, then that second steroid type in the contaminated meat, he would have tested positive for that as well. But because he didn't, that let us know he took steroids. He didn't eat contaminated meat. It did not come from contaminated meat, because if it did, guess what? Then he would have had failed for two types of steroids, Cambuterol and another version that's in the contaminated meat. Just to further prove that Canelo Alvarez did cheat, just like Oscar Valdez, who failed to provide the herbal tea.
Going back to what Oscar, though, I love Oscar Valdez. I'm Mexican, 100%. I support my people. I support anybody, any boxer. But for Oscar, for him to say that, sorry, the victory, that's a clear indication of him feeling guilt, and he's lucky that he got that fight. But honestly, I looked into the rules of the WBC. That fight shouldn't have taken place till after like 30 days, honestly, and it should have been on neutral territory, because that territory obviously wasn't going to favor the Brazilian guys. These guys look like monsters. I don't know, man. It's just something's going on in that camp too. I seen Canelo go from Superman to like He-Man and and the Hulk in a year. That something ain't right. And I just know the sport. You know, it sucks that it's like that, and it makes good fans like ourselves like, wait a minute, you know, this. What do you think about Oscar apologizing? You saw the fight. What do you think? You saw that he apologized. What do you think? Did you see the same thing I saw?
Yeah. I saw him reading the script. That's what I saw. I seen his eyes moving, scrolling over, reading from,
like a rehearsed script. Yeah.
He was reading from script. It wasn't from the heart, because obviously they doing damage control. There's no fighter in the world that's going to admit that he cheated. They're always gonna lie and say, "Oh yeah, you know, I didn't know." "Oh yeah, you didn't know? It magically popped up in your tea, and it was herbal tea, and you can't provide herbal tea." We know what time it is, you know. So
hey, Aki, me and you both know that's bullshit. And guess what? Canelo showing up to the fight made it even worse. That comes to prove to me that, hey, he's coming. Mind you, I'm Mexican. That proves to me that he went there to save face for his camp. But to me and other people that we've talked, casual fans, good fans know this. Fans that have been in the sport for years and years know this. And we've talked and we say, you know what? Why was he there? Is he fighting on top rank? Is he fighting a top rank boxer next? What's going on here? Then Teofimo coming and saying that, hey, you know, I have to support all my boxers. No, you don't support cheaters. We had an 18-year-old lady that just died in Canada 2 weeks ago.
Great point.
You know what I mean?
Great point.
Yeah, that girl. If God forbid that other girl was on that same stuff, that's a drug enhancer plus it masks other stuff that you can take for your stamina and hormones and stuff. These guys don't understand the severity of the damage they can do to a clean fighter that's busting his ass throughout camp while this is over here juiced up. It doesn't help the sport, and it really makes these guys look bad. I'm sorry, it really does. Eddie used to be a butcher. He used to work at a meat plant. He knows how to fatten these cows up and how to mask these agents. I'm going to call it how I see it. Look into it, my friend. I know his story. I love boxing. I used to love these guys. I just see anomalies now, and I'm not going to...
It's definitely a terrible look on their behalf, and the truth will always come out. So it's pretty much an attempted murder. When you take steroids or PEDs, enhancement performance...
You hit the nail. It is attempted murder because these fists are registered. We have to register these fists. Exactly. These fists are registered, and they're a license to kill. And if you have an altered DNA and a muscle structure, that you have an advantage, even if it's 1%. That's a 1% that could hurt another fighter in your weight class. Aki, I like your channel, bro.
We spent about an hour on camera, and when it was done, Oscar turned to me and said, "Do you believe me?" So here are the facts. He wanted the VADA testing. He insisted on it. He tested positive in his second test, this time August 12th. It's conceivable that it happened like he thinks it did with some sort of diet tea. Does not get him off the hook. But am I prepared to throw away all the good stuff he did and all the heroism he's had for the past, I don't know how many years, for one test in my heart? No, I'm not.
Mark, the question I have for you is should he be fighting tonight? That's the question I have for you tonight.
Don't hold him responsible for the WBC's inconsistencies and cynicism.
Mark, anybody else test positive for anything, they're not fighting tonight, and they're also being stripped.
Is that his fault?
Is it his fault? He's the one that's got the positive test. That's what I'm trying to tell you. No, I don't know what you're saying. That's the positive test that he got. Yes. He shouldn't be allowed to fight tonight, and that's the only problem I have with
this
tonight.
WBC, man.
So, the WBC already know how I feel about him. They already know.
Listen, the WBC made the decision that they made, but we wouldn't be in this position if Oscar Valdez didn't test positive. So we can't keep like moving the goalposts, y'all. It is what it is. Oscar tested positive. Many don't believe that he should be fighting tonight. He is, and we're going to call this fight just like it would be any other fight. But we got to let what's happening sit. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in Bernardo. You mentioned this earlier in the week about a person rehabilitating themselves and getting forgiveness, and I believe that wholeheartedly. But trust is earned. And Oscar Valdez, it's going to take some time before he builds up the trust with people.
And we've seen it happen with his stablemate, Saul Canelo Alvarez. And we've seen it also with Tyson Fury, who's going to be fighting Deontay Wilder in October.